Hi, my name is Justin, and my group members are Nelson, Cole, Alex, and Rhea. Our group is Pink Salmon, and our part of the project is site preparation and mobilization. So, site prep and mobilization includes staking and surveying, which includes setting control points and staking limits within the culvert as well as the restoration areas. Then comes temporary erosion and sediment control, often called TESC, which is the installation of fencing, compost sediment filter socks, erosion control coverings, trackout mats, and spill cleanup. We also have stream diversion, which is stopping the flow of the tributary, installing fish nets and pumps, and rerouting the water to the nearby culvert. Next activity is clearing and grubbing, which includes cutting down trees and clearing vegetation from the site. We also have the laydown area, which includes setting up 2 areas for material storage with sanitary facilities, power, water, fencing, and safety equipment. Lastly, we have traffic control, includes placing signage, installing barricades to provide full road closure.
The top safety risk that we presume to be the biggest for our section is getting struck by hazards from traffic or equipment. So workers are exposed to moving vehicles and heavy machinery during road closures, setup, and site clearing. Improper barricade placement or lack of visibility can lead to traffic entering the construction zone. Another one is slips, trips, and falls, like uneven ground, vegetation debris, temporary erosion control measures that can create trip hazards throughout the site. Our third one is injury from clearing and grubbing operations. For example, chainsaws, chippers, and falling branches pose a risk during removal. And our last one is chemical leak, as our SPCC spill control for a generator is required, and for other machinery as well, because they are diesel based.
Top quality risk. Spill preventions for machinery and generator. For the laydown area, we might not be able to get the permissions for the temporary laydown area. Watchdog must approve the sign and barriers. For the steam diversions, risk of weir fallings and water flooding the site.
Here is our work breakdown structure. We will begin with staking and surveying, which sets the control points and defines the limits for all of the work zones. That's immediately followed by installing the high visibility fencing. This is our first erosion and sediment control measure. Once the fencing is in place, we can then move into 2 parallel activities: stream diversion and clearing and grubbing. Stream diversion will reroute the flow of the water, and clearing and grubbing begins the clearing for the site. After the first section is cleared during clearing and grubbing, we can begin temporary erosion and sediment control in tandem. Next, the laydown areas will be set up, and finally, we will implement traffic control, fully closing the road and posting the detour signage.
Our first activity is stake and survey. This activity will use a 2-person surveying crew similar to the crew A6 and RS means. The crew will bring their own equipment and material to set control points with the culvert and restoration area. The survey team will provide layback areas associated with clearing, grubbing, and excavation limits. For the stake and survey, the crew, as I mentioned before, is a 2-person crew, which includes a chainman and a construction site surveyor. The chainman is an aide to the construction site surveyor. It's another surveyor that helps the main person. Our equipment and our materials are not included in this table because we are assuming that the crew is bringing their own equipment and materials. Our predecessors, we don't have any for stake and survey, as this will be our first activity. It will interact with task, the high visibility fencing that comes after setting up control points, as well as clearing and grubbing. Other WBS items that interact with stake and surveying include excavation. We don't have any inspections and testing and hold points with stake and surveying, and we also don't have any limitation or rules that are specific to this portion of our activities. As can be seen on the presentation slides, I have drawn up some points for the high vis fencing, as those points will be the stakes that we would be setting up from the survey group. They're not specifically going to be at those. These are just examples of where they can be. Some important points include the beginning of where the fencing will start, some different elevations, as well as the end of the fencing.
Upon completion of staking and surveying, the temporary erosion and sediment control high-vis fencing placement may begin work. This activity must be completed and prior to all other work on site. Additionally, it must be approved for placement and compliance by a certified erosion sediment control lead. The labor requirements are fairly small, requiring only 2 general laborers, as well as 900 linear feet of high visibility fencing roll. The description of the work is also fairly simple, requiring 2 general laborers to drive fence posts every 10 feet along the perimeter established during staking and surveying while mounting high visibility fencing roll to the fence post.
The next part of site prep and mobilization is the stream diversion. So in order to install the culvert, we have to first dam and redirect the existing stream. So to do this, we'll have a team of 2 general laborers as well as 1 excavator operator. First, a fishnet will be installed upstream of where the dam will be, and then the operator will use the excavator to drive a steel sheet pile into the stream perpendicular to the flow to stop the flow. Once the flow is stopped, 1 primary electric pump with a 2-inch diameter and 1 backup diesel pump with a 4-inch diameter will be installed next to the sheet pile. Then a 2-inch diameter and 4-inch diameter flexible PVC pipe will be unraveled by each of the general laborers along the road, 689 linear feet ending at the existing culvert, as you can see in the photo above and to the right. Finally, the crew members will turn on the pumps and make sure the pumps are working correctly. So this activity, as I said before, it consists of 2 general laborers, an excavator operator. Be using an excavator that will already be on site, 2 types of PVC pipe, 2 pumps, a steel sheet pile, and a fishnet. Productivity, the laborers will be walking about 1 mile per hour, unraveling the pipe. So the total time will be estimated to be 15 minutes to install the weir and the pumps, and then another 15 minutes to unravel the pipes, totaling to a half hour. For the stream diversion, staking and surveying, as well as the high-vis fencing will have to be completed. Stream diversion can happen in sequence with the laydown areas, clear and grub, and the rest of the TESC activities, as well as traffic control. For limitations, big rule is that a fishnet must be installed prior to installing the dam in order to protect the fish.
So this part is laid down areas, predecessor, clean and grub and fencing. Interactions, these activities can be happen in tandem with TSC and clear and grab. So there's no inspection, testing, and holding points. The only limitation is the landowner agreement. So in this task, we divide into 3 small tasks. Task 1, earthwork. This activity is just ensure that there's a accessible roadway connecting with SR203 and the construction sites. Task 2, SPCC. So SPCC is just a erosion control for some potential risk of some fuel like diesel or petroleum leak out during the constructions. Task 3, general, or you can consider as the temporary utilities. So in this task, we need to ensure that there's a power supply, water supply, and some portable toilets for workers and the construction activities happens. So this is our laydown areas. So we have 2 laydown areas. One is on the north, one is on the south. Those 2 laydown areas has the similar areas, and there's a certain amount of the gravel areas cover the roadway surface. So for the first task, earthwork, we need to ensure that there's a gravel on the floor, so we can ensure that temporary road structures for the truck can drive into the laydown areas. So that's a 2 laydown areas. We just estimate up to 2 hours to finish these tasks. Work duration will be 30 minutes per laydown area plus 30 minutes for equipment transfer time. So we need 3 equipment operations and 1 labor foreman, and this all is the equipment that we need and the materials ordered from. So we need 300 square yards gravel for 2 laydown areas. So for the second one, SPCC. The SPCC we just only need to place 2 or up to 4 spill kits on the construction site, 2 on each area. So 1 will be north, 1 on the south, and remaining 2 will be on the construction area. And the last one, general, or you can consider as the utilities. So this one, we just have to ensure that's like a power supply, water supply, and the toilets, restroom, so-called, for those workers to use. So we have 6 generator with lighting, 1 portable toilet, and 1 portable sink. So this is the end of the laydown area part.
The next activity is clear and grub. The only required predecessors for this activity are staking and surveying, as well as the high visibility fencing placement. Because clear and grub must occur in 2 segments, 1 on each side of the road, once 1 segment has been completed, work may continue in tandem with TESC. Labor requirements are higher than most of our others have been, requiring 4 general laborers, as well as 2 equipment operators and 2 heavy truck operators. This is to operate the small 1.5 cubic yard hydraulic excavator, as well as the 3 cubic yard crawler loader, and 2 dump trucks. The worksite is on farmland, meaning that there will be less trees than a typical site, making our job a little bit easier. The trees and logs that are on site will be cut down and removed, and then loaded into a chipper along with their stumps. After any trees that must be removed have been removed, the crawler with a blade attachment will remove any other excess vegetation and then consolidate it for it to be loaded into the dump trucks. Following the completion of one segment of clearing grub, work can begin on TESC, or Temporary Erosion and Sediment Control. However, prior to any work beginning, a meeting between the environmental control manager or inspector and relevant contractors and subcontractors must be held. An additional hold point for this activity is that there must be at least one discharge sample taken and tested during the duration of construction. The labor and equipment requirements for TESC is 5 general laborers, 1 truck operator, as well as 700 square yards of jute mesh and 580 linear feet of compost sock filters. Around the borders of the site, the sediment filter socks will be placed and allow water to flow through, trapping out any undesirable sediment or particles. Additionally, as an erosion control measure, placement of jute mesh erosion blankets will be completed. Throughout the duration of the project, the TESC will include spill cleanup and following the SPCC plan. All erosion control measures must be approved by the CESCL.
Our final activity is traffic control, where we'll be closing the road completely to allow safe access for construction. Then 7 days before the closure, we'll place portable message boards to notify drivers and the public. Then on the day of closure, our crew will install Type 3 barricades across both ends of the site, placing cones and advanced warning signs along the taper zones, and then check that all the detour routes are clearly signed and open. Our task will be completed by a crew of 3 traffic control laborers using a flatbed truck. We'll be installing 6 barricades with road closed signs, along with 20 tripod-mounted detour signs. We have estimated a productivity rate of 5 signs or barricades per hour. Traffic control can't begin until the laydown areas are finished and all the materials are on site. Our planned detour is shown on the map here in blue, with road closed signs at both ends. Detour signs will be at every intersection along the entire route. Then WashDOT must approve of the traffic control setup before anything else can move forward. This concludes our presentation. Thank you.